Welcome to the Road to Redemption podcast with your host, Cam Williamson. Each week, Cam sets out to shatter the labels and stigmas associated with mental health awareness by giving life lessons and raw overviews of events happening around the world.
All right, what is up, guys? Welcome back to this episode of the Road to Redemption podcast. I'm, as always, your grateful host, Cam Williamson. Fantastic to be with you today. Hey, look, I want to get back to the core of what we do on this show, shatter the labels and stigmas of mental health. Today, I'm giving you what I'll call a secret to managing your depression that I've realized it's probably not a new thought or a new way of thinking, but it's new to me, and it's helped me massively. And I'm going to give you the train of thought that I kind of went through that over the last couple days seems to have given me a newfound or rejuvenated perspective on depression. Depression is when the chemicals in your body mixed with the thoughts in your mind are creating an inability to function. It's keeping you at and again, when people suffer from depression, they'll familiarize themselves with the feeling of heaviness, physical heaviness, like your limbs weigh more than they do. And it's a physical inability to move mixed with a severe inability to act in a lot of cases. For myself, a lot of my depression has always stemmed from lost opportunities, lost connections with people that I valued and loved greatly in my life. And it's also, depression also comes when you can't find a way out of a certain situation. A lot of people who have kids, and especially if you have kids with people you're no longer with, life, while it is so short, while going through struggles, especially long drawn out ones, can feel so hopeless sometimes. When you have kids and you have to work out custody agreements, and every day is a day lost of spending time with your child, it can feel like every day is a failure, right? So that's just for me. You guys can all input your own situations into it. The secret that I've found, when my mind has started to tell me, yeah, maybe it's time to pack it up. Maybe it's time you go and work a 9-to-5 again, or maybe it's time you stop thinking this whole bet on yourself thing is the way to ultimately figure things out. I notice everything becomes very short term in my mind. And everything is now. How do I fix now? How do I feel better now? What's going to make now better? And then I had to sit and I go, I can never seem to get myself out of that cycle of fixing the now. And then I look and I go, well, in spirituality and stuff, we learn that time is just kind of a construct that we've all created to try to make sense of our life and be where we're supposed to be when we're supposed to be there. And we've really used time to stress us out a lot. Whether it be, did you make it to work on time? Did you get the kids to school on time? Or did you get married in the time that you thought, or the time that society told you should? Or did you have kids at the right time? Did you have them too late? Did you have them too early? Like, all these thoughts become marks on your internal timer, right? We all have these goals. We all have these dreams. And if you imagine this clock, this invisible clock that just covers your torso, well, if you pass 28 and you had a marker there saying, I want to be married with at least one kid with a stable job, and you're, jobless, no relationship, living with your parents still, and you're sitting there going, what the fuck, man? And then so many people could go, well, that's not depression. That's being realistically upset about the way your life goes. And you go, well, I thought that my life should look like this. You guys have heard me say that a lot on my show. And then it all came to me the other day, and you go, look at all this ego. I think my life should have. I think my life was gonna. I would feel better if more comfort, more happiness, more joy would be in my life if I wouldn't be sad and depressed if, and it's like, yo, look at all this ego-centered, I'm hurt because of the way things turned out for me. So many times we convince ourselves, I'm hurt because I lost love, I lost friends, I lost family members, when in reality, we lost the idea, the dream of what could have, probably never would have been in the future that your mind was creating every single day with that person. There was an interesting quote that I heard last week, which is yesterday's thoughts. The thoughts you have yesterday will be the same thoughts you have today and tomorrow and the next day and 5 years and 10 years from now if you don't intentionally change them. If you sit and always wonder how you came up short in the high school talent show, and that's the reason why you never joined a band, and then you never, pursued your dream of being a musician, or you never pursued art because your parents wanted you to be a political person, or whatever your thing is, you lost the love of your life and you feel like you're damned on this cursed journey in life forever, or whatever your situation is, look at it and take a highlighter to the situation every time we use the word I think, the way my life should have, the way I wanted. And it's all these things, and you go, well, what about everybody else? I'm 30 years old now. I think I have enough maturity and hindsight at this point in my life to say that I've been able to truly love people in my life. I've been able to express myself creatively through my career, and I've done almost every shithole career job you could do. I've worked at almost every restaurant. I've done general labor, construction. I mean, I've really tried my best to figure out what my thing is in this life. So I can relate to so many different aspects of life, but what I notice when I strip away all I spent years doing this hard-ass work to try to provide, and these people didn't appreciate it, and they left me like I was nothing, and I sit and look and I go, I loved them for the decisions that they made day in and day out, while we were together, or while we were friends, or while they were actively in my life as my parent or my sibling or whoever. I loved them. I had deep love in my heart. I forgave them so many times. When I shouldn't have, when I should have. There were times I didn't forgive them. There were times I did them wrong. And then you go, I wasn't perfect either. So, as much as I'm accumulating all the reasons I have to be angry and bitter and hateful and resentful towards life as a whole, the universe, God, the creator, whatever you want to call it, the way life works, right? I said for so many years of my life, you will never meet bad luck like Cam Williamson luck. And again, like I said it, like almost a couple months ago when I got a thing through my tire. And every tire shop that I showed it to was like, bro, I've never seen something like this before. And I was like, yeah, y'all have never met me. Like, I have the craziest fucking luck. But, like, I don't say shit like that anymore. Because that's not who I am. Who I am is a member of this thing called life. Things happen in life. Good things happen, and things that I'm going to deem in the moment as unfortunate are going to happen. But everything that I've deemed unfortunate that happened in my life, I've now been able to turn into what can I learn from that? The moment, and this has been coming up subtly in all these episodes, like the moment I lost my son, not the one who was, moved away, but my first wife got pregnant and, 21 to 22 weeks, I think, in. The doctors, she was rushed to the hospital. Doctor said, hey, she's going to have to deliver. It's too far to do anything else. And he's not going to make it. And that moment was something, it happened when I was like 22, I think. And it was in like 2012. And I never even mentioned it. I never brought it up, not to my ex-wife, not to anybody. My mother was in the room. Like, I never talked about it. No one talked about it. And I remember it was something I didn't blame anyone for. In the moment, I remember going, this is life. This really is life. This isn't a nightmare that I'm going to wake up from. But this isn't something I'm going to be able to carry with me for my whole life. Right? I don't know if it was because I never met my son. I never saw life in his eyes. I never felt breath come from his body like I did my two kids. But when you think of depression and you want to rationalize reasons to be sad, I always have that reason. I can always go back to that and go, life is so mean. Right? I didn't do anything. I wasn't a bad person. Sure, I messed up and I was not the best husband and I wasn't the best stepfather, but like I didn't deserve that. And I used it as a cause for my own depression without thinking about it. But then I didn't think about like that was really where my first marriage fell apart. We never talked about it. She recovered physically and neither one of us ever recovered emotionally. And then we never grew together through it. We grew apart because of it. And I became very bitter towards life for a very long time as a whole. Again, whether you want to call it the Akash, the divine timing, God's creation, the scientific way things work, whatever your philosophy is on how life works, I've learned through reading and watching different things that aren't just like Stranger Things and stuff like that, though I have been trying to give myself the grace to enjoy things like that and just have off time, not trying to be this intellectual all the time. But when you look, and especially in spirituality, what I believe to be true spirituality, I've learned to remove myself from all these situations. Like we look at school shootings and we look at all this. And it's hard to process. We as humans go, how could one conscious human make that decision to do that, right? And then I'm walking down through the Greenway, which is where I walk, the park that I walk at, and I'm walking, do my couple miles, whatever. And I notice that there's a family riding in front of me on bikes, right? And when I make it up to where they were, I notice that there's a whole sprue of just, I don't know what sprue is. You guys define that word for yourselves. It's a whole gang of fucked up bugs. I don't know what they were, roaches kind of things. I don't know, beetles, I don't know. But there was a whole string of them fucked up. These bikes had just mowed over them. And I was like, damn, if you were a beetle and you just walked through, cross this path, which it looks like they were doing, a very common path for these beetles, you'd be like, oh my God, a massacre. What the fuck just happened? Oh my God. Right? If you had the consciousness to do that, there'd be massacres and tragedies every day. You'd be sitting under a fucking hill, walking out to get your shit. You'd be floating through the fucking air, hearing your little ant buddies going, oh my God, a bird fucking got Jeffrey. Into your family, that would be the murder in your local neighborhood. So it's like, I'm not justifying what happens. I'm not saying people don't have a right to be upset or get emotionally attached to things. I'm saying that if you separate yourself egoically, we are a part of nature. We are going to act as nature does. And sometimes organisms go bad. Things are mutated and things, energies get wonky. And one off decision mixed with an off intention leads to something that you might have to look at from a scope later, only to see if what I thought, on my bended knee, praying to whatever God that I could believe in that moment, save my son and I'll do anything in this life. I'll be nowhere in the fucking ark. You do anything and I'll do it. I'll do it. And I remember that. Even though doctors were saying there's no fucking hope, nothing, okay, fine, I can only do what I can do. I remember that, and I can bended knee physically and be here and ask whatever is making this happen to stop it, right? And then you get to now, and I go, I have one daughter who I love so much, and our relationship's not perfect, and I work every day to make it better and to have the best relationship we can. Our communication lately has been great. And I'm going to see her here in like a week. So I'm super excited. But I look and I go, I don't know who my son would have been. I don't know. I don't know. And I don't know what he could have been for his sister. I don't know. And to try to think about that could be hard, but I have to look at it for what it is. And I go, I never got to meet that kid. But I did get to meet my daughter, my youngest now. And after him, I got to meet my oldest daughter. So I like to believe that nothing was ever lost in that moment. That there was something in that I was supposed to learn 12 to 13 years later about surrender, which is when the worst things happen in life and you're left on bended knee with the unfulfilled prayers and whatever, and you realize I'm left to process this in two ways. The one that I'm going to survive in, or the one that's going to bring me down. Ultimately. Not immediately, probably. And I remember after that, I took to the destruction route. That's when I got my DUIs, and my life really took to shit for a while because I didn't process anything. And again, I had this sudden realization a couple days ago where I go, everything that I was, everything bad that happened, all these reoccurring, especially daily thoughts that I have, I've now been able to notice them and go, those are yesterday's thoughts. I'm not carrying those today. And I've noticed, almost like when they say that to cast out the devil in religion, you have to use the name of Jesus Christ, and I cast you out in the name of Jesus Christ. It's the same idea with negative thoughts. You physically have to put an authority against it. And I think there's some symbolism there to go, I'm not going to allow you to infiltrate this anymore. Right? The thought was caused by an event in my life that I was unhappy with the outcome in. Now, if I'm willing to examine every moment leading up to that, I can probably find some fault of my own and claim some accountability and responsibility that would help me find any closure I may need in that situation. Or I can realize that everyone's entitled to live the way they want to live, do what they want to do, be who they want to be, and in that, I may not be the right choice for everybody because I'm not so narcissistic or egoic, to use a non-diagnosis word. I'm not so egoic, I'm not so high and mighty on myself that I think I'm just a God's gift to everybody I encounter. I'm not everybody's person. I'm not everybody's thing, right? And when you can learn to release people in love, I heard a really cool Kevin Gates video.
I love you, but I release you with love. From all spiritual agreements, all spiritual contracts, all soul ties, and all energies that no longer serve my higher self. But I love you, but we go no further, because just having that attachment is keeping me from being what I'm supposed to be. And since I've been releasing a lot of baggage, my career has just went back through the roof. Why is that? It's the energy.
That was just talking about, I release you with love. To all the people that you've told in your life, I love you. I will always be there for you. I will always take your call. I'll always do what I need to do for you. There can come a moment where you go, I love you. But the energy that I give to whatever you were, whatever we were, to whatever you are to me, biologically, energetically, spiritually, that doesn't continue anymore, because now I look at my energy being my whole being, how I carry myself through life, my energy, as radiant or succulent, right? To use a shitty word. My energy is either radiating, and I'm radiating from this place of love where I'm trying to find any hole I can to that's a terrible word. I'm going to rephrase that immediately. I'm looking for any place that I can put love into the situation. You guys see how that could have gone poorly? I'm still immature, guys. I'm looking, or my energy is being sucked away from me. God damn, I picked terrible words for this. It's fucking serious business. Knock it off. All right. Either you're doing things and you're acting in a way that is radiating your soul's purpose, and you feel that because it feels good. Now, like the challenge around my house that sucks my energy recently, and what I mean by sucks my energy, everything is energy, sucks my positive energy out, where I'm able to be patient, I'm able to be kind, loving, understanding. When you hear people go like, you're about to bring my inner gangster out, yo, and like my kids know. If you start, and you guys might have recognized it on my show, my family notices it. You get a switch that kind of flips with me, where I'm talking to you and I'm trying to be loving and I'm trying to be kind and I'm trying to be patient, and then there's, hey, yo, I'm not fucking playing anymore. And like, again, that level of where that spectrum gets blurry from when dad is being nice and patient and articulating things, and when dad is about to flip the fuck out, is very different. And I've learned to put a bigger buffer to where dad getting here is completely not something in anyone's scope. And even hopefully for you guys at some point, where because I don't have this great expectation of anything or anybody, or I don't need life to put $100,000 in my bank account before I'm 35 so I can say that I manifested properly on a vision board and then I can put it on my TikTok as a trending thing. I don't need any of that. I look at what life is. I have 2 beautiful daughters who I love so much. I get to do pretty much whatever I want on a daily basis. And I love being here, talking to you guys, mixing shit up about life in a way that, sure, it's probably hard for some people to follow, and it's kind of sporadic, and the topics don't always blend together, but guess what? Like, you guys are just watching my life. That's it. That's all I've ever wanted to do, is document it. So probably for some real deep-seated reason, I don't feel like no matter what happens in my life, that my life was completely meaningless. That in the end, I'll always know that I have this catalog here for anyone to find, including my kids and my family, to go, you know, even if I misunderstood Cam his whole life, maybe after he's gone, I can really learn about who he was and love him then. And, you know, maybe on a spiritual level, I'll be able to acknowledge that when that happens, you know? Who knows? But it's one of those things where I don't look for admiration. I don't look for anything. I look for genuine moments of love. And if there's moments of suffering, I try to find how I can put love into that. And that's my only mission day to day. I don't have any great, grandiose thing. Like, I don't do the vision board deal. I don't try to manifest anything anymore. I let life be exactly what it is. And every day when I get creative urges, I try my very best to work through any mental health struggles that try to tell me I'm not good enough to achieve that. And I try to work through any negative criticism of myself that goes, people aren't going to understand why you do this. And this is going to be another thing that kills this analytic and does this. And I'm done living that way. I'm a creator by nature and by soul purpose. I'm a creator. So like whatever I create is going to be made for who it's made for. And it's not going to be made for the people that don't need it or don't want it at that time. And that's just, again, that's me radiating from an authentic place and not radiating from a place where I'm being pulled from an outside force, feeling like I have to be something else or create an image of myself that is inauthentic to try to keep this image up for social media or whoever. It leads to feeling inauthentic, which leads you to questioning who you really are, when deep down you know exactly who you are. You know why things have meant what they've meant to you. You know why. Ask yourself this question. All the things that you beat yourself up about, I've recently been asking myself this. All the things that you allow yourself to beat yourself up about, and it's super hard, right? And you go, oh my God, why did this not work out? What if I would have done this differently? What I would have done this? What about all the situations you left and have no burdens about, that you ripped cord and walked away from? Why do you not carry heaviness about those? You don't value them as much. You placed an unnecessary or irrational set of value to something, and it has a hold over you in the same way addiction gets a hold over people. Yours is in repetitive ways of thinking. You think that your thoughts are secondary to you. Your thoughts come from your past experiences, your past thoughts, and they reoccur. Only through new experiences do you get to have new thoughts. You need someone to give you that new idea to go, oh, I'd never considered that before. Or, oh, I'd never seen that. Holy shit. And then mind blown moment happens. Light bulb. Hey, I'm not a useless piece of shit. That person was just not meant for me. That job was not meant for me. The career path that I convinced myself I wanted, that's great. I like that. That's awesome. But that's not meant for me. What I'm really great at is this. That doesn't mean I can't love this field and I can't appreciate that, but I do this in my time, and then I do my expression of love towards that some other time. And you learn that life is not this rigid box of expectations societally and religious views and what other people think. When you bust out of all this ways of thinking that you have to be anybody for anybody, your kids, your spouse, your friends, your fucking parents, anybody, your grandmother, guess what, man? They don't even know who they are most of the time. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know why their thoughts are the way they are. They don't know why they wake up and do the same shit every day. Or you got some fucking rock stars in your life who are breaking that mold, and you notice that shit and you go, damn, I want to be like that. And then that internal dialogue starts working and it goes, you couldn't do that. Look at what your parents do. That's what you do. And it's this thing that goes, oh, your past, these past events. Remember when you tried that thing that one time and it didn't fucking work out? Yeah, see how that's going to feel again, dude, dickhead? And you're like, no, man, because I'm not a dickhead. I did that. Start talking to yourself. Put the authority up. You know what, self? You're fucking right. I did do that, and I failed. But guess what? I learned. A big one for me was my stand-up comedy routines. I did stand-up for a little bit when I was like 18, 19. It was a bucket list thing for me. I had just gone through a shit breakup. My life was in shambles. I was smoking weed all the time. I hadn't really gone all the way downhill, but I was going there. And I was like, you know what? I don't give a fuck, man. I'm going to ask this place if they'll let me go up. And I did, I think, like 15, 20 minutes, which is crazy if you think about it, for the first time going up. And again, I think I still have this video somewhere on my like Facebook or something. It's out there. You could find it. And I remember afterwards, I go, holy shit, I'm a stand-up comedian now. Like, and yeah, people in the audience laughed. I got paid like $10 to do it or whatever, just for like tip money that went around the thing. But I remember for the first time, I was like, yo, I don't need anyone's excuse or anyone's permission. Like, I just did that. I'm a stand-up comedian now. Now, whether I ever do it again, that doesn't fucking matter. But I can say in my life, I did stand-up. I did a legitimate stand-up in front of a crowd. People paid to be there, and like, I keep finding these moments where I'm like, why in the fuck do we discredit what we've done so often in our lives? What benefit do you have in staying small? What benefit do you have in staying hurt over situations that clearly were not meant for you? I'm asking genuinely, if you can give me a way that it serves you to hold. I have this vision, right? Imagine this. All the things in your past over here that didn't work out the way you wanted them to, I'm giving you the credit. The way you wanted them to, they didn't go. Then you have the way life actually is over here, right? You spend all your energy. We got 2 faucets up top. You turn this faucet on, let it run, baby. It's full pour. Send that shit, right? 2 faucets. We turn this one on, barely drip dropping, and I walk away. This is your energy. This is your energy. You're dumping all your goddamn energy. Hell of a time for that to go. This is going to be an editing nightmare. You've got all your goddamn energy being unfiltered, poured into your past, into your depression, into your sadness, into all the shit that you think from your human brain didn't go okay for you. Life as it actually is, all the things you're ignoring, all the things you're not being grateful for, all the things that you're choosing aren't good enough in the moment. You give no energy to those things. And then you wonder why you're upset. I think it's rational to see why you're upset. But it's not depression doing that. It's your way of thinking that's fallen off. It's our way that we've gotten used to going, my life should look this way. I should do this and this should happen. Nothing should happen anyway for us. Everything will only happen the way it will. And it's only our resistance or acceptance to that that truly dictates how happy you are in life. If you can get past all this, I want, I need, and people are learning this in a very hard way with gas prices and inflation and, you know, God forbid you have a kid that requires formula or something, but like everyone's finding this surrender, this unnecessary surrender. And I remember saying this like 3 years ago that was like, hey, imagine if the government stepped in and placed an 18% tax on you. What would you do? And like that was the example I gave just randomly, and it was like, what would you do? You would just deal with it. You would just do what was necessary to live the life you need to live, or nothing else to survive. Well, now a lot of us are doing so much surviving when we don't have to. You don't have to be convinced that the sky is falling, or that you're going to starve to death, or that some mythological group from whatever time predicted the apocalypse and that our life is actually going to end in 2025. Hey, guess what? If it is, it is. If it is, it is. What are you going to do about it? Have you invested enough time into the space program and your scholastics that you're going to go up in the rocket to fix it? No? Or are you going to sit and watch it on TV as the light slowly covers us all? You're probably going to be right with me, sitting there, watching it on TikTok until you burn away. So why worry about it? Again, if you're that worried about it, start studying, and the energy you put into studying and making your worry now not an impractical worry, but something you're actively working towards, I bet you'll feel better. You won't have time to worry because you'll be actively trying to solve a problem if you can. And then you reach another problem where you need more surrender, which is, I don't know what problems I'm going to be able to solve in this life. I don't know what's going to happen to me, my kids, my parents. I don't know. But I do know that any opportunity I get to be in the same room with them, share a car ride with them, a phone call with them, that is a direct blessing, for lack of a better word, from whatever it is that chooses or maybe doesn't, whether you have a good or a bad moment. Because in every moment you can choose that. Now, sometimes the outside circumstances will give you a reaction that immediately would say, I don't like this. This is uncomfortable. This isn't in line with what I wanted. But you can come right back to that place of, but I don't really want anything. I don't need a bank account to say anything. I don't need a house project to get done. I don't need a vacation to go on. If I have nature and I can breathe and I can walk and I can hug my kids and I can share a laugh with them and share a moment of kindness with them, what else do I really need in a day? Really, do I need? I don't need anything. Everything else is such a fucking gift. Everything is such a gift. And that's why I think I've found such immense gratitude in the last couple of days, where it's like when I walk through nature now, I'm just so grateful for the breeze and the sunshine and whatever power that holds. I don't try to label it. I don't try to say, oh, I'm getting this healing in it. Nah, I don't need any of that. I'm just grateful for the sun, man. I'm grateful for the wind. I'm grateful that I have the freedom to be able to go and walk for miles and then get in my car and sip my coffee, which I hope I didn't fucking spill. Sip my coffee, drive home, listen to my favorite music because I can, and truly live a very blessed life, even through moments of severe pain. But what do? We find the light in all this. Life is so heavy. If you're a walking radiation of lightness and love and truly being a genuine person that cares about one another, I can promise you, and gratitude is massively important, life becomes more bearable. You stop looking at the clock so much. You stop living on your phone. You stop living on impulse to try to survive, to feed a dopamine fix that's telling you that you're going to die if you don't feed your fix, you know? And you're able to truly be. And you're truly able to let your guard down and let your shields down from all those moments that you felt that you had to harden up, because if you didn't, everything that you did love and value would slip away, because in a moment it felt like it would. For some of us, it's very normal to live in that survival mode state, in that fight or flight mode state, and you do have to remind yourself multiple times an hour, multiple times a day, multiple times a week, that, hey, there's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with me as a person. I'm not a bad person. I have things in my life that I've learned to do to keep myself safe, feeling, and keep myself within a manageable, to me, state. And some of these things don't serve me the way that they used to, or I found that they never truly served me at all. But instead of saying, I don't drink anymore because drinking makes me act like a dickhead and then I end up in jail or a hospital or whatever, you go, I can appreciate the time that I had with that, and it helped me through so much pain. I can release it with love, and now when I go, I don't drink, it's not because I can't and it holds this great power over me. It's because I love myself. I love nature. I love my family. I love my freedom, selfishly. And it's just like any bad relationship from your past, or boss that did you wrong, or job that fired you. You go, I'm so much better off without you and everything that you entail, all the drama, all the whatever. It's purely out of selfishness that I walk away from you, because you are such an energy sucker, and I allow that. Every time I think about it, or I entertain an idea of, oh, I could do this, or I could, whatever, you immediately notice how bad you start to feel. And you go, oh, it's this old way of thinking, this way of yesterday, this sorrow Cam that's coming back to go, hey, am I still wanted here? And you, as yourself, can stand in your own proper authority and go, no, you're not. With love. Respectfully, no. You can't sit here. You have a place in life. I don't know why you ever came to be. I didn't ask you to be. I love you. You carried me for so long. I love you. But no. Again, we go no further, you and I. And you can talk to yourself as someone of the past. You and I, we go no further here. And that's what Kevin Gates kept saying. Like, we can't do this to ourselves anymore. Because you carrying on my back, you've never once helped me. Never once have you helped me. Maybe to get through an extra set in the gym or another 50 kicks on a heavy bag or something. But you've never helped me pay my bills. You've never helped me feel better to fall asleep at night. You've never given me an appetite after a stressful day. Like, what the fuck am I carrying you for? And then at some point, that authority wins. And that voice goes away and goes, I have no purpose here. And again, if that lives in the past, if that lives in the minds of other people, and sometimes you get feelings or memories about that, you have that same stance. I appreciate you. You did your best to keep us safe in a moment. You don't stand with us anymore. I left you back where I left you. I don't know how you got here. I don't know who brought you here, but they can take you to fuck back. And that's how I look at thoughts now. People that I no longer speak to and stuff like that. Hey, yo, I appreciate you coming to say hey. I don't need that around here anymore. That's just for thoughts, let alone if people reach out to me and stuff. Hey, yo, I can't. Because why? I know how much love I'm willing to give. I know what I have to give in my life. I know how much power and energy I bring, and that's always been too much. So don't come back around here when you realize that everything else, or, the employees you did hire ain't what they promised on their resume or whatever. Don't come back over here trying to figure out what's going on. You stay right where you left me then. I left you where I left you when I decided to. See how our paths were not the same and we made different decisions at different times? That's what happens when people don't work together. We chose not to work together at some point. Therefore, myself, as the CEO of my own fucking life, I'm going to choose to not continue business together with a past version or events or hurtful things that only seek to destroy me. Look at it no different way than that and then tell me if it makes any sense to entertain thoughts. It doesn't. What about the ones we can't stop? What about the ones that are so intrusive? The ones that you're like, oh, this is who I am. Why does this keep going? No matter how many mantras I have, breathing works, no matter how many times I feel like a fucking schizophrenic arguing with myself in the shower, how will this one thought not go away? It's a deep-seated source of pain. It's something that you've carried for a really long time. Don't discredit what it is. You've carried it a long time. It's not going to go away because you suddenly had the realization that you shouldn't carry it anymore. It's going to take time. But again, every time it comes up, if you try to fight it and you put all this negative energy towards it, all this resistance towards it, it's going to stick around because you're giving it that energy. Give it simple energy. Love. Hey, man, I love you. That's it, though. I love you. I'm not going to sit here and fight with you. How does that work when you do that in your actual relationships in life? Hey, yo, I love you. I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. I'm not. Why? Because it doesn't matter what we're arguing about. What? I told you to drive this way and you drove another way and now we were late and whatever. I'm going to go sit here and argue with you about it? So I could tell you that what you did, not listening to me, was dumb, and now, for what? I love you, yo. I'm not going to sit here and fight with you. I don't want you to feel bad. I don't want you to feel less than. I don't want you to carry the burdens of anything. I'm not fixing to sit here and fight with you about nothing. I love you. I'm releasing that moment. I don't want to carry it with me. I hope you don't carry it with you. I don't want you to carry that. A moment of your past where you fell short or something? Man, I love you more than that. And I would love to be able to teach people in every moment, like a quarterback that throws an interception. Hey, you're going to throw another pass. You can't think about that one or else you're going to throw another interception. I need you to keep your focus on scoring touchdowns, not the interception. The one interception you threw. I need you to focus on scoring touchdowns. Focus on that and you'll do that. Same thing. I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll put it down. so we can do our proper send-off. I love you. Thank you for hanging out. Hit the thumbs up button if you guys like what we're doing over here. Subscribe if you want to see more of it. Hit the bell if you want to see it as soon as we drop it. RoadToRedemptionPodcast.com for all the past episodes. We got some merch. All the Violently Caffeinated stuff is up now. Our spring line is over. Use the code SHATTERIT for 10% off the entire website. Love you so much. We'll see you in the next one.